All right, what's up? Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming, and we are back with some more on the In Development Glory Days Pro Football game. And today we're going to look at traits and how they will come into play in the game, and basically the purpose and reasoning behind them. So, on the table, at least on the channel for the first time, we have the 76 Oakland Raiders, 13-1, and the 1985 Chicago Bears. Now, a couple of things with both these teams. The Raiders, and as it relates to their trait, which is clutch, and I'll explain what that is in a minute, were kind of statistically underwhelming, especially for a 13-1 team, a Super Bowl champion. So traits, much like in the boxing game, are included in Glory Days football to kind of fill in gaps, level the playing field, make certain things about a team stand out more. Adjust my focus. And, basically just to bring the game in line, hopefully with reality. So I guess that's as good as my focus will get. So, looking at Oakland, again, statistically, you see in the drive 9-8, not bad. Chicago is one of the rare, they have the spinal tap rating here. This one goes to 11 because their defense was that much more dominant than any other team in the league. Thus far, I've only got about 4 or 5 teams to rate still in the all-time great team set. So far, them and Baltimore are the only teams that have achieved ratings above 10 on the drive ratings, both on defense, because Baltimore's defense is the same. So comparing the two teams, playing quick play mode, um, first drive, Chicago would have the advantage on defense and on offense by 2 in each case. Second drive, Oakland pretty good finishing on offense. It would be even defense and offense, and then for Oakland, still a two-column or two-row advantage to Chicago. So looking at some of the trench control ratings for these teams, Oakland again, pretty solid offensively. You see they have the 3 two-star results for run offense and 4 for pass offense, which is as good as you can get. Defense, not quite so much. So their defense is going to let other teams be in games with them or, compete, in other words. So that leads us to the trait. So they have the clutch trait, and traits are not automatic. They have to be rolled for pregame, and if you roll within the range, then that trait is applicable for that game. So Oakland's clutch trait 1-17, pretty standard that will be hit most of the time. And what that means is it relates to close games, which Oakland has a potential to be in a lot of those, just because their defense is a little bit inadequate compared to the other all-time great teams. So the way clutch works, if you roll within that 1-17 pregame, you get the drive result from 2 rows above the regular row. So looking at the drive chart, say Oakland's normal drive results will come from a -2, and their adjusted in that clutch situation would come from the even roll, the 0 roll. And that comes into play on the last drive of the game. If trailing by 8 or less, they just get a boost offensively. And in addition to that, it's -1 from all play-by-play trench control rolls for the last drive of the game. So that is the clutch trait. And again, that relates to the fact that they were in some games. Defense wasn't always consistent, but give Stabler the ball with the game on the line, especially that year, he seemed to come through. So let's move to the Bears. Bears, equal running game to actually a very good running game. Um, they have a total of 9 stars in their running game. Passing game, not so much. And that was, McMahon missed some games that year. And let's be honest, he had a penchant for big plays, but he also would make some mistakes. And in terms of defense, pass defense as good as you can get, and run defense is pretty solid as well. 8 stars and 10 stars, run and pass respectively. So they're going to create havoc for Raiders, as passing is their strength, and that'll be a matchup to watch there. So their trait is miserly, and what miserly indicates is all big plays rolled on the drive chart become stops. So in other words, Chicago's pressure negates a lot of the big plays that they would normally give up because they're able to get to the quarterback or clog the running lanes. And you see there they have a 1 to 13, so that's just a little over 50-50. And you know, that trait should not apply to every game. As you recall from 1985, Miami made them pay for their aggressive defense. So there will be situations where that trait does not come into play, obviously. All right. A couple of other things that I want to point out on the cards too. So McMahon, under the quarterback completion percentage, which you roll pregame, and that's for hybrid mode, of course, for the stats on the automatic drive. So McMahon has a 14 in parentheses. So the first thing you need to do is roll pregame 13. McMahon's going to get the start. If it had been above 14, Steve Fuller would have got the start. And same thing for Stabler. He is 18 or less, so, and he's good there. One other thing I want to point out, and this is not too common, but Stabler and his backup, Ray, there was a big enough difference in their completion percentages that if Ray is ever the starting quarterback, you would minus 10% from all of the hybrid drive completion percentage here. So if you roll a 4 pregame for his completion percentage, it would go to 55 instead of 65. And again, that was due to the wide disparity in completion percentage between Stabler and Ray. McMahon and Fuller, not that big a difference, so it's not a concern there. I do want to go over the cards a little bit again in detail because this is the final version of the cards. These are my prototypes, and I'm familiar with version 1 engine, of course, the drive, offense, and defense, the hybrid drive in the first column, and then if you're playing quick play mode where each drive is 2 different drive rolls, the second or finishing portion of the drive in the second. Goal line is the same, and that's only used in quick play. If you stall inside the 10, you'd roll a d20. If it's below the adjusted, which looking at Oakland, they're 14 minus 2. So if Oakland stalled in quick play mode inside the 10, 12 or less would mean they were able to punch it in, so they'd get an additional play for whatever yards were needed to score the touchdown. Of course, number of drives per game, and I'm working on an alternate score or timekeeping method, which I'll include on the Excel helper, and that will enable you, depending on how many drives a team has per game, to enter an actual time into a clock I have on the Excel sheet that will track time during the quarter versus just counting single drives. And so that's for those of you that want to be a little bit more accurate. Sometimes the drives may not yield the exact number of plays you might be looking for a team. Usually comes pretty close over the course of the game, but just another option if you want to score in it, or time keep, I'm sorry, in a different method. So anyway, I digress. So moving down, again, the big change in this version is the trench control roles have become more in line with the boxing game. So you have your run offense, run defense, pass defense, and stars, which once you're in play-by-play mode, if you play full play-by-play mode or play-by-play in the hybrid mode, which again is the base version of the game, you would roll the 2d6 and reference them for the star ratings, and that would let you know whether the offense won the trenches, it was a stalemate, or the defense won, and that also is reflected in the play-by-play charts. These charts are for when the offense wins trench control. These charts are for stalemate or defense wins trench control. And the only difference between those two, runner ratings will make the yardage come out the way it should. So it's not always going to be the same yardage. It's going to depend on if it comes off the defensive card, you're probably going to have a lower rating. And if it comes off the offensive player, it will be a higher rating. And even in stalemate, you'd get the appropriate yardage. The only difference between the two charts is for stalemate, these red rows, which indicate a potential fumble, do not come into play. You ignore them. You can only get a fumble when the defense wins trench control, which again accounts for them being disruptive. On the cards going down, special teams ratings, upper right in that grid here. The QBTD, those are quick play touchdowns. So if you're playing quick play mode, roll the D10 to get whether it's a run or a passing touchdown. Block onside, and then moving down, the new play metrics, or matrix, I'm sorry. So there, depending on the situation, D20 is rolled to call the play, and that will tell you if it's a run or pass and who the intended receiver or ball carrier is. The BCR ratings, that comes into play. The letter is for hybrid mode, and that's to automatically assign stats appropriately for the simulated portions of the drive. And then the minus or plus numbers here also go on the Excel helper if you're playing hybrid mode to adjust the yardage the ball carrier receiver gets on hybrid portions of the drive. And again, to get the game, the stats more in line with how they should be reflected, more accurate. The yellow and green columns here. So 3rd and 6 plus and 3rd and 1 to 2 are yellow. Those are downs where the defense is expecting either a run or a pass, and that just means they're prepared. And this is the same in version 1, the college game, where you'll add 1 to the trench control roll. So a 3 on trench control would become a 4 if it's 3rd and 6 plus. And similar, the greens are situations where the defense is not expecting a play. So if you roll a run on 3rd and 6 plus, then it would be -1 from the trench control roll. So the trench control roll of 3 becomes a 2, et cetera, et cetera. So moving down, and to get yardage results too, usually for the running plays, it's going to be only 1 D10, and I'll go through that a little bit slower the first drive here. So that 3 would come off the letter column on the play-by-play chart for whoever the runner is. So Van Egan, as an example, is an H. That would be 3H, and that would give you the yardage for the play. Usually that's as simple as it is. The only time the second D10 comes into play on running plays is if a big play is rolled, and then you just use that second dice to go to the big play chart and get the result from there. For passing, the D10 is going to be whether or not it's complete, depending on offense wins, stalemate, or defense wins, which comes off the defensive card. If the number is within that range, it's complete. It can also be obviously incomplete. And when the defense wins trench control, that's when you have the most opportunity to get a sack or an interception. And the second D10, in that case, if the pass is complete, you then reference the receiver's letter rating here. Say Branch is a C, and C9, which is going to be a big play, would come off of the play-by-play chart there. And if you do roll a big play on a reception, obviously you'd have to roll a D10 a second time to get the big play result. So very few extra rolls in this game, but that is one of them. I tried to eliminate them as much as possible. Moving on, a couple of things to point out here where it's blue. So you see with the offense winning a trench control on a passing down, blue is a potential sack. So if you roll within the adjusted sack range, which going against Chicago, Oakland's would be 1 to 12. If you roll within that, it's a sack. You roll 2d6 for the yardage lost. Now, when the offense wins trench control, if the defense does not get a sack, it's a complete pass. So you go to the column on the right to get the result if there's no sack. Stalemate, it's incomplete. Going down to when the defense wins trench control, you see first a complete number, incomplete, And then same thing here, a potential sack, which turns into a complete pass if the defense does not get the sack. And then a potential sack and interception, which turn into incomplete passes if the defense does not get the sack or interception. If you do roll an interception, you would use the normal dice and the receiver. So say Stabler throws a pick, he's targeted Casper. So you'd go to J7, and that would give you the yardage at the point the interception took place. So all that can be parsed out in a single roll. In that case, you would have to roll again for the interception return. And like I said, there are a few situations where there's extra rolls. New additions also here. The stuff, each team has a specific stuff rating, which when they do get into the backfield, how many yards are lost. Fumbles could also occur there. Big play on fumbles and interceptions. There's the standard fumble and interception return tables, and then each of those, as well as a block kick return, has a big play, and there is a big play chart for those. So big play kickoff and punt return, and that depends on the kickoff and punt rating. Big play fumble blocked kick. So Oakland has a big play fumble rating of E, meaning they didn't really get a lot of big plays on fumble returns. So you go to the E column, and the one good chance they have is a 9, where it's a D20 plus 15 yards. Otherwise, fairly moderate pedestrian. As you go up and get higher big play ratings, you can actually score an automatic TD on a fumble return. Same thing with interception returns, TDs, and better yardage results, the higher your big play rating is for that area. Big play coverage is another new addition. That will come off the main game chart on kickoff and punt returns. And the only caveat there, which is explained in the rules, if it is you use the offense's punt return rating, or the return team's punt return rating. So again, using Oakland as an example, their punt return is a B. So if there is a big play coverage rolled, you would roll the yardage result from this column here. So you could have minus yards, no gain, just short yardage, bigger gain, but a possible fumble. And then this comes from the spot the punt is fielded. If you roll big play coverage on a kickoff, these adjustments are applied from the 15-yard line. And again, that will be detailed in the rules. So that is basically it. There's a look at the stuff chart too. You can see higher the stuff rating. There's a potential fumble there too, but more yardage lost, and the lower your stuff rating, the fewer or lower amount of yardage is potentially lost. Going down the fumble, interception, sack ratings adjusted by the defense. So Oakland's fumble is normally 1 to 5. Chicago is no adjustment, stays there. Chicago is a 1 to 7, and Oakland is a -6. They weren't very good at creating fumbles, or at least recoveries. So Chicago's fumble rating goes to a 1. And again, same as in the version 1 of the game, the ratings can never go below 1 or above 19. So there always has to be a chance to not have one of these results, and there always has to be a chance to have one. Yardage adjustment for hybrid mode, same as version 1. And then kicking, basically same thing with the rolls for the yardage distance and the chance for them to be good. Maximum yardage, you can try field goals over the maximum yardage. And looking at Oakland, that's 42 yards. And 40, 41, or 42 is still only 0 to 21. If you tried a 43-yarder, you could, but it would be 10 off of this result, so 0 to 11. Chicago a little bit better, max is 46, so you could try a 48-yard field goal, and that would be 0 to 29 with the plus 10 adjustment applied twice. So that's about it. Let's do a couple of drives. First, let's roll for our traits. All right, so Oakland, will they get the clutch trait in this game? They will not. So if they're trailing by 8 points or less in the fourth quarter, that clutch adjustment does not apply. Oakland or Chicago does get the miserly trait. So anytime Oakland rolls a big play on the drive chart. It is going to be a stop. All right, so let's get set up here and we'll jump right into the action. Make sure I can get the cards in. All right, here we go. All right, Oakland is going to receive the kickoff. And Chicago's kickoff is a C. Oakland's kickoff return is a B. There we go. No penalty. And 5C, that's going to go down to the goal line. And 3B on the return, and that is going to be a 27-yard return. So Oakland takes over on their own 27 to start the drive. And we move to our simulated portion of the drive. Again, we are playing hybrid mode, which is the way the game is designed to be played. You can play full quick play as mentioned, and also full play-by-play if you desire. The main difference is, dialing in the stats. Obviously, you're going to get a closer to realistic on play-by-play, but hybrid still works pretty good. And the time that takes to play the game. A full play-by-play game is going to take you an hour and a half. A hybrid game should take you 45 to 60 minutes, and a quick play game should take you 30-35 minutes. All right, so drive portion. Again, you look at, and I'm going through these first couple of drives slow, step by step. So first thing you look at, Chicago's drive defense. Remember, they have that extra. They're an 11 and a 9. So on the drive chart, you would take the drive result from the -2 column. So for Oakland, they need to get above 37, and 64 they do. That's going to be a successful drive. Looking at the D20 and roll of 3, that is going to be a 5-play, 32-yard drive. So that's down to the Chicago 41-yard line. Down in distance, again, defense is an 11. So roll of 3, and it's going to be 3rd and 12 from there. So they had a big play and then got stuffed a couple of times. And we jump into play-by-play mode. For the Raiders, 3rd down and 12. And again, if it's a pass, Chicago will be expecting that. And I'll go through this again super slow. White is offense, red is defense. So on this, the offensive roll becomes a 5. So looking at the trench control pass offense is 1 star, but Chicago rolling a 6 is going to lose the trench battle. So going to the offense plus or the offense win column here, a roll of 9 is going to be that sack or completion. So first let's find out who the intended receiver is. The intended receiver 8 is going to be Dave Casper. So that's how we'll get our yards. First thing we're going to roll for, though, is the sack. And again, rolling the D20 there. All right, so Stabler's, again, sack adjustment is going to be 1 to 12. Chicago with a +4 and 3. They're going to get to him. And the Bears come up with a stop. That's an 8-yard loss. Kicks it all the way back to the 49. And Oakland's first drive stalls. They're going to have to punt away. We'll go through the slower step-by-step again with this. So punting. C, punt return is a C for both, so 5 on the punt. And 5 on the punt is going to be a 42-yard punt. So it's going to come down to the 7-yard line of Chicago, and 4 on the punt return is going to be a 4-yard return. So they take over at their own 11, and Jim McMahon brings the Bears onto the field. And again, the drive chart, so Oakland's drive defense is an 8. Chicago's drive offense is a 10. They were surprisingly efficient, mostly in the running game. So they're going to go from the +2 on the drive chart here. So +2, it's going to be 30 or more, and it will be a successful drive. And 24. Not going to be a successful drive. So Oakland says they can play defense too. Roll of 15 on the punt kick chart is a 3-play, 7-yard drive. So McMahon, not much happening there. And Chicago is going to have to punt it away. All right, Chicago, and they're punting a 9. That is going to be a potential block. So you look at the D10, and 97 is what we're looking for. Oakland is 98 to 99. They barely get the punt away, so that is going to be a 43-yard punt. So that comes down at the 39-yard line, and Oakland on the return, punt return B. And that will be a 10-yard return. So Oakland, good field position again. They're just outside of Chicago territory. And their simulated drive starts at their own 49. And again, going on the -2 column. Roll of 39, and that is barely going to be a successful drive. So Oakland having a little bit more success early on than Chicago. 13, and 13 is going to be 7 plays, 34 yards. It's down to the 27-yard line, and down in distance there, 10. This is where Chicago comes up big because of their defense. It's going to be 3rd down and 6 from there. So another 3rd down situation, 3rd and 6 from the Chicago 27-yard line. Stabler. All right, 2 and 3rd and 6 plus. He's going to try and cross him up. That's going to be a draw play to Mark Van Eegen. And again, -1 off the offense's trench control roll. So that becomes a 4. It is still 1 star. Chicago, though, rolls a blank on a 6 on their run defense. So it's going to be another trench control win for the offense. And Van Eegen is an H. And H9 is going to be a big play. Got a little bit of everything here in this more detailed demo. So on the big play charts, the big play H, roll of 3, and that is going to be a 22-yard scamper for Mark Van Eegen, and that's going to be down to the 5-yard line. So 1st and goal there for the Raiders. All right, and coming out on 1st and goal, it is going to be a run play to Van Eegen again. And trench control roll, this time Chicago is going to get the nod. So now you go to the 3, and I forgot to mention this pre. So on run defense, when the defense wins trench control on a running play, you look at this first D10. If it's within 0 to 6, it is off of the play-by-play chart. 7 to 9 in the case of Chicago comes off of the stuff chart. So Chicago's run defense is a K. That's where it's going to come off of. And 7, K7 on the stalemate, and that is going to be a 1-yard gain for Van Eegen. 2nd down and goal from the 4. And 16, Stabler's going to come out, and he's looking for Cliff Branch. And it's going to be a complete pass no matter who wins trench control, and it is going to be a stalemate. So that's a complete pass to Branch. And 7, Cliff Branch is a C. That's for sure going to be a touchdown. So 7C, and that would have been a touchdown from 16 yards out. So Oakland has jumped up on the 1985 Chicago Bears, and extra point is up and good. It is 7-0. And Chicago, let's see if they can answer back. They have advantages pretty much across the board here, and but they dice gods, and anything can happen on any given Sunday. So here we go. Kickoff, and Oakland's rating is a D. So that's going to come down to the 10-yard line. Chicago should get pretty good field position out of this, as they have a kickoff return of A. And kickoff return to A is going to be a 20-yard return. So Chicago starts on their own 30. Again, hybrid portion of the drive. And we're looking for 30 or better. And 43 going to be a successful drive for the Bears. And roll of 3 on the drive chart. And that is 5 plays, 32 yards for Chicago. So that is down to the 38-yard line. And down and distance, Oakland's defense again is an 8. So down and distance, roll of 6, and it's going to be 1st and 10 for the Bears from there as we jump into play-by-play mode. Jim McMahon and Walter Payton out on the field. Chicago looking to utilize their strength, which is the running game. We're going to have a potential penalty that doubles on the trench control roll. So run defense 2, run offense 2. It is going to be a stalemate, and 0. On Peyton, of course, is the ball carrier, 6 on the D20. So roll of 0. That's going to be a big play for Walter Payton, and hopefully this penalty is not on Chicago. So we will roll, actually go straight to the, use the 5 to the big play chart, and that is going to be 5M. That is good for a 22-yard scamper by Walter Payton. Now we got to check the penalty though, and 1 to 9 is an offensive penalty. It's a 20. It's going to be a defensive penalty. That is going to be declined. We'll roll to see what it is. Obviously, it could be tacked on to the end. And 8 on the defensive penalty. That's offsides. That will definitely be declined. A 22-yard run for Payton. And that's going to be down to the 38, 18, 16-yard line. So 1st and 10 for the Bears from there. McMahon back up, and this is going to be a run to the big fullback, Matt Suey, and 2, it's going to be 2 stars and 1 star on run defense, another offensive win for trench control. 1 eye, and that is going to be only a 1-yard gain for Suey, so he's cut down at the 15-yard line, 2nd down and 9. All right, the play call on 2nd down is going to be another run to Suey. They're going to ride the big fella down here as they approach or inside the red zone. And roll of 4, that will be 2 stars on the run. Roll of 3, 1 star on the run defense. So another win, trench control win for the offense. And Matt Suey busts off tackle and forges ahead. And that's going to be a gain of 5 yards. So down to the 10. And that makes it 3rd down and 4. So the playbook is open here for the Bears. McMahon brings them up. Checks out the defense, and he's going to play it safe and call a run to Walter Payton. So offense, 2 stars again. Defense on the trench control, 1 star. A win for the offense. And sweetness. 2G, that is going to be a 3-yard gain. So Ditka with a decision to make now. It's 4th and 1, and they're going to go for it. McMahon doesn't even try and jog off the field. So again, going fourth down, you go from the appropriate third down column. So 4th and 1, offense or defense will be expecting a run. And it is indeed a run to Walter Payton. And going to deduct 1 from the defensive trench control. So that's 2 stars. 3 for Chicago is still 2 stars. Stalemate, 6G, and that is going to be enough. Walter Payton gets it down to the 1 yard line, a 6-yard gain, first down and goal from there. Now, when you get into situations like this, you can go from the first down column, obviously, but as an optional rule inside the 10, you can use, again, when it's inside the 5, you can use the third down and 1 to 2. With no adjustment, and that's what we will do because it would most likely be a run here. Payton again, and for Chicago, that is going to be 2 stars and 1 star for the Raiders, and that will easily be a touchdown as Payton, 1G, hammers it in from the 1 yard line. Chicago has come back to tie this, pending extra point, which is up and good. 7-7, and we'll do one more drive from each team, and that kind of, the main thing again was to get the traits out there, and of course Oakland rolled outside their trait range, so that's irrelevant. And Chicago, miserly's not going to come up a lot, obviously, because you don't roll that many big plays off the big play chart, and their defense grades out well enough in other aspects of the card that it's not a concern for me. So 3 on the kickoff. And 3C, that is going to be a touchback, and first down from the 25-yard line for Oakland as we go to the simulated portion of the drive. Again, they're going -2. So they need 38 or more, a 92, and we're going to have a potential fumble on this drive. So 16 on the possible turnover. It's 3 plays, 9 yards, and they will have to kick if they do not lose the ball. And again, all that comes off the drive chart. So fumble rating. Again, Chicago, their defensive adjustment is 0, and Oakland's 1 to 5. They do a pretty good job taking care of the ball, and they do not fumble it away, but it's going to be 4th down, and they're going to have to punt. As this will be the last drive of the first quarter. All right, into punt, Ray Guy, and really 76 was not one of his stellar years, honestly, but that is going to be a 38-yard punt. 34, 68, 72. Okay, down to the 28-yard line of Chicago. And punt return on that is 9, and that is going to be a big play cover result. So Chicago's punt return is a C. And rolling on the big play cover chart. 1C on the punt return, and that is going to be -3 yards. So fielded at the 28 and backed up to the 25. So I'm glad these charts, the other big play charts, have come into play too. It lets you see the different variety that will pop up here. But Chicago, second quarter, need to have another successful drive. And Jimmy Mack, that will be a successful drive, 71. And from the 25-yard line, roll of 6. That is going to be 4 plays, 38 yards, automatic first down, which does occur on some results. So that's down to the 37-yard line, and it'll be first down there for the Bears. Back into play-by-play mode we go. See if they continue to rely on their run game. 14. And this time it's going to be Dennis Gentry into the game. He is an E. And possible penalty 5s is going to be a stalemate. So off the stalemate chart and a roll of 9, that's going to be a 9G is going to be a 3-yard gain. So gentry for 3 yards. Let's check for the penalty now, though. And 14, no penalty. So 2nd down and 7 from the 34. McMahon, and that's going to be a run to Peyton, who is back in the game after a breather, and it's going to be a offensive trench control run, win 5G, and that is going to be a 4-yard run for Peyton down to the 30-yard line. It's going to make it 3rd down and 3, and 3rd down and 3 is in that playbook is open range. So 3rd and 3 and roll of 3. They're going to stick with the bread and butter. They're feeding the rock to Walter Payton. And 4 is going to be 2 stars on the trench control for Chicago and 2 stars, so a stalemate. Still should be enough to get the 1st down, though. And 7G is a gain of 5 yards, so 1st down. Down to the 25-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Bears. Relying on their very potent run game here, and we're going to have a potential penalty on this play. 1st down, 12. It's going to be another run to Suey. And trench control is going to be a stalemate. So Suey, 5I on the stalemate column is a gain of 6 yards, actually. Let's see what the penalty is, though, or if there is a penalty. And finally, Chicago's luck runs out. That's going to be a penalty on the Bears. 14, and that will be a holding call. That's a costly one. Backs him up to the 35, and it will be 1st down and 20 from there. Now, when you're behind the sticks, you go with the, and again, this is an optional rule, but I would recommend using it. Behind the sticks, you take the result out of the 3rd down and 6+ column with, just like in short yardage, inside the 10, no adjustment. So here we go, and Chicago, 3rd and 6+ column, and 15. That is going to be a pass intended for Dennis McKinnon out of the backfield. And he had actually quite a few. He was actually a pretty good weapon, if I remember correctly, out of the backfield, and his stats would prove that. All right, pass defense, Oakland, 1 star, 2 stars on the pass offense. It is a win for the offense, roll of 6. Jim McMahon, and he just overshoots it, incomplete, 2nd down. And again, behind the sticks, going out of the 3rd and 6+ column, another potential penalty. 15 and 15. This is going to be another pass intended for McKinnon, who is in the game in passing situations. All right, on the trench control, 1 star, 1 star, another stalemate, roll of 2. This is going to be complete, however, and 6, McKinnon. 6F on the stalemate chart, and that is going to be a 22-yard gain for McKinnon. So he breaks a tackle into the open field, and he's down to the 13. 1st and 10 for the Bears. Drive is alive as McMahon brings them up, 1st down. And back to the ground game they go to Walter Payton. It's going to be a offensive win. And 2G, 3-yard gain for Sweetness, 2nd down and 7. And 20, and Ken Marjoram in the game. He's going to be the recipient of a pass here. It's going to be complete no matter what happens. It's a 0 is always going to be a complete pass. So that's complete to Marjoram, and Marjoram, K. 5K on the stalemate chart, and that is going to be a gain of 7 yards. So that's going to be enough to get a 1st down at the 3-yard line. 1st and goal again for the Bears. And the optional yardage check to get the exact amount of yardage needed. Again, that only comes into play if it's a 3rd or 4th down, and you can roll against the defensive drive rating for a stop, which again is not applicable here. All right, so 1st and goal, and inside the 5, we will go to the 3rd and 2 column, no adjustment. And 8, that's going to be a run to who else? Walter Payton, and it will be a defensive or an offensive win. I'm sorry. So 5G and Payton, that's 4 yards. That's enough to get into the end zone. His 2nd touchdown of the day. Extra point is up, and it is good. Chicago, 14-7 over Oakland. Oakland set to receive the kickoff. And 0 on the kickoff. That's going to be a touchback. Oakland takes over again on the 25-yard line. Going to the drive chart, and Oakland again needs 38 or better for a successful drive, and they barely get this. They've actually moved the ball pretty well between the 20s. Have shot themselves in the foot with mistakes. So roll of 10, that's going to be a 5-play, 36-yard drive. It's going to be down to the Chicago 39, down in distance a 7. That's going to be an automatic 1st and 10, or will be a 1st and 10. So 1st and 10 from the Chicago 39, back into play-by-play mode are the Oakland Raiders. And 12, that's going to be a run play to Pete Banaszak. And trench control rating 1 star and no star, so it'll be an offensive win. Banaszak is an L. Not the fleetest of the Oakland backfield stable. That's going to be a 3-yard gain down to the 36. 2nd down and 7. The Snake looking to tie things up with the Bears. And another potential penalty. So on 2nd down, and this will be a run to Mark Van Eegen. And a stalemate. So Van Eegen, 3H on stalemate chart, and that is going to be a run of 5 yards. Now let's see if we have a penalty. Oakland 1-10. And 10, it will indeed be a penalty on the Raiders. So they continue their bad habits. And that is going to be a personal foul. So that's going to be 15 yards. And we'll take that from the end of the run. So from the 31 all the way back to the 46. Make it 2nd down and 17. Actually, that would be 3rd down. That would be after the play. So 3rd and 17, personal foul. And again, behind the sticks. So roll of 6, and that is going to be a pass intended for Casper. Defense is expecting that, so add 1 to the offensive trench control roll. Still going to be 2 stars, and for Chicago, that electric pass defense, still going to be 2 stars for them. Stalemate, and stalemate 6 is incomplete. If offense had 1, that would have been a completed pass. So 4th down again for Oakland. From the 46-yard line, they have no way to make this field goal. They're going to punt, and they're going to go for the coffin corner result, which comes out of the E column in all cases. All right, 8E, and that is going to be 39 yards. So that's down to the 7-yard line. And return of, or roll of 6 on the return. 6C, and that's a 2-yard return, so back up to the 14. Each team will have 1 more drive before halftime after this, as Chicago will look to extend their lead, and Oakland looking for a defensive stop. They're not going to get it. That's a successful drive. So from inside the 22, roll of 12, that is going to be 11 plays, 72 yards, a grinder of a drive. So that's all the way down to the 14 and down in distance. Roll of 8 against Oakland's 8 defense is going to be 2nd down and 6 from there. So Chicago matriculating the ball down the field, 2nd and 6. McMahon brings the Bears up. And it's going to be, what else? A run to Walter Payton. They're relying heavily on him in this game. So 2 stars on defense, 2 stars on offense, going to be a stalemate, and 1G is going to be an 8-yard gain. That is the best in that column for him. Oh, I'm sorry, stalemate. I looked in the wrong place. 6-yard gain, that is still a good result. So that is going to be enough for the 1st down, actually. So 1st and goal for the Bears from the 7-yard line. And McMahon, 1st down, brings Bears up, and who else? Peyton's going to get the rock. 2 stars on defense, 2 stars on offense, another stalemate, and 3G is another, or 5-yard gain, so down to the 2, 2nd down and goal. Peyton continues to rack up the yardage. Inside the 5, we go from that, actually we go from 2nd down here still, because it's not 1st down. All right, so 10, and that's going to be a run to Thomas. Offensive wins the trench control, and Thomas is an I. That should be a touchdown easily. Roll of 8. And 5 yards. Yep. Touchdown, Chicago, and the Bears, after a slow start, have gotten it together. A possible penalty on the PAT. It is indeed a penalty, and 20... That's going to be a personal foul, and they will assess that on the kickoff. So we'll add 15 yards to wherever the kickoff lands for Chicago, who now leads it 21-7, and Oakland, Chicago, each 1 drive left in this quarter. I'm sorry, actually, yeah, 1 drive left in this quarter for each team. Here we go. All right, kickoff for Chicago, and roll of 8. C, that comes down to the 5, and because of the penalty, that will actually come down at the 20. That is a very costly penalty for special teams. And return of 5. 5B, that's a 25-yard return. So Oakland on their own 45 now as they go into the simulated drive portion. And this time Chicago is going to rise up and stop them. That's going to be a 7-play, 22-yard drive, but they'll have to kick it. So that's down to the 33. It's actually, that is as good a drive as you can get from the punt kick column. Herein lies the problem. This, though, is a 30, this will be a 50-yard field goal, which they have no opportunity at all to make. So what we'll do is we'll roll from down and roll for down and distance, and Oakland will go for it. And you do that basically just with a 2D10. Okay, it's 4th down. We'll roll for distance, I should say. So 9, and again going off of Chicago's defensive rating of 11. And it's going to be 4 yards needed for the 1st down. So 4th and 4, and Oakland is going to go for it. I should explain that in detail too. So this is how that works. So when the drive is stalled in plus territory and there's no chance to make a field goal, which was the case here, you would take the defense's team drive rating 11. You go to the drive chart and roll your 2d6, and whatever yardage comes up on this chart here, that's how many yards they have for 1st down. So actually Oakland came out fairly well there. It could have been much, much worse. Could have 15, 12, 10. So that's how that works. 4th and 4 again. 4th down, you go from the 3rd and whatever it is. This is 3rd and 3 to 5 in that case. All right, so 4th down, it's going to be a pass intended for Cliff Branch, and 2 stars and 1 star. It's going to be an offensive win, and that is huge because that makes it, turns an incompletion into completion. And Branch, who is a C, he's a big play guy. 6C, and that is going to be a 33-yard strike for a touchdown. And that is the best result you can get in his trench win column. So Oakland, now with a chance to cut the lead to 7. Kick is up and good. It's 21-14 as Stabler connects with Branch on a big 33-yard touchdown strike. Chicago's last drive of the first half. And a potential penalty on the kickoff. 8D, and that's going to come down to the 10-yard line. Return 1. Again, Chicago, a very good return team. 1A, 32 yards. So that's going to be out to the 42, but let's see if there is a penalty. And 20, that is going to be on the defense. 12. So penalties on the kicking team, 12. That would be offsides on the kickoff, and that, of course, is going to be declined, and Chicago will be happy to take over on their own 42-yard line. So McMahon trying to extend the lead before the break. .62, and that will be another successful drive. Roll a 5 on the jive chart. 4 plays, 32 yards, automatic first down. That's down to the 26-yard line. 1st and 10 for Chicago as they try and extend this lead in a unusually high-scoring game. Well, Bears actually were in a lot of high-scoring games, but usually the defense has created more of that. But the offense has been on point today. Only stopped once. All right, 1st down, and it's going to be a run to Suey again. They're feeding the big guy. 4 stars is going to be 4 is 2 stars, and 2 stars a stalemate. So 1I, and Suey is going to be stopped for a 2-yard gain. 2nd down and 8. McMahon has really not been throwing the ball in play-by-play mode much, and as I say that, on 2nd down, it's going to be Dennis Gentry on a draw, so that holds up. Chicago ran the ball 56% of the time in 1985. All right, so Gentry, and that's going to be an offensive win, and Gentry is an E. He's a very good yardage back. So 5E on the win. That's an 8-yard gain. 1st down to the 16-yard line. .13 and a run to Thomas as Chicago sticking to their ground game. And this is going to be another stalemate, and Thomas is an I. I2, and that's a 5-yard gain. 2nd down and 5 from the 11-yard line. And finally, McMahon is going to throw to Emory Moorhead, his big tight end. And roll of 5 on the pass offense is 1 star. Roll of 3 on pass defense is 1 star. We have a stalemate, and that is incomplete. 3rd down and 5 for the Chicago 11. Playbook is open. And 10, that is going to be a pass intended for Peyton out of the backfield. Trench control roll is going to be an offensive win. but a roll of 9. So that has a potential sack. If it is not a sack, it is complete. So we will set the yardage here off to the side. 1 is what we will use for if the sack does not occur. Peyton's an M. So on the win there, 1M would be a 9-yard gain. That would be enough for a first down. So let's see if Jimmy Mack can avoid the sack. He is 1-11. Oakland is +2, 13 or less, and he avoids it. Hits Walter Payton, and 1M, and that is going to be. Oh, I looked in the wrong place. My bad. A 9-yard gain. So still, that is enough for a first down. First and goal at the 2. And we go to the 3rd and 1 to 2 column. Actually, we'll just, you know what, I'm going to play it straight up. I think the way these play matrices are based, the only time you'd really have to go outside of what the down and distance is, and again, this is kind of where I'm leaning from testing, and it will be obviously fleshed out in the rule book. The only time you would really have to go past the normal column is when you're behind the sticks, and obviously there you're going to throw more. So using the 3rd and 6+ column there with no adjustment does make sense. So it's going to go first down, normal first down column here. It's still a run, still to Walter Payton, which we expected. And Oakland's run defense, that's a 1-star. That is a win. So that's a 2-yard touchdown run. Walter Payton's 3rd touchdown of the day. And extra point is good. Chicago, an offensive explosion in the first half as they take a 28-14 halftime lead into the break. And the dice gods have been in favor of offense today. So that's basically it. We'll just do the first. Well, you know what? What the hell? Yeah, actually, we'll end it the first half. Really, all I wanted to do was show and talk about the traits and go into a little bit more detail on the cards. So that is, we'll call it a stream there because it's almost dinner time. All right, so 28-14. We'll actually pick this up and finish it. You know what? Let's finish it in quick play mode. Let's do that. All right, so second half, Chicago receiving the kickoff. And that's the other thing that I think is kind of a plus for the game. It's flexible. You can jump in hybrid mode, play-by-play, quick play mode at any point during the game. And we'll finish this one in quick play. So the extra points, or the kickoffs, etc., are all the same. Special teams plays are all the same. So Oakland kicking off to Chicago as Oakland received the opening kickoff. And that is going to be a kick 4D down to the goal line and return for Chicago. And that's going to be a big play cover result. So again, that's marked from the 15. I'm glad that example came up as well. So that's a -1, so Chicago goes into their first portion of the drive on their own 14. So again, quick play mode, first drive in the left column, second drive in the right. Chicago, again, with that, has that +2 for both columns, so that's going to be a benefit to them. All right, here we go. Let's see if Oakland can get back in this. Not this time. 17. That's going to be a drive from inside the 20. 9 plays, 45 yards. Down to the 41, and we go to the second portion of the drive. And actually, because there is penalties built into the drive charts now, we don't really even need to roll the D6s. All right, 81 on the second portion of the drive, and 81 is going to be a big play, 10, and that's a big play to Matt Suey. So Suey and I and 2I on the big play chart is going to be 19-yard gain. So in quick play mode, when you get a big play like that, and it does not result in a touchdown, obviously the drive is not going to be stopped, so you just roll the drive again. It'll be one of the few times that you have to do 3 rolls. And this time, though, Oakland's going to rise up and get a stop, 3 plays, 6 yards there on the second portion of that drive. And they are stalled out at the 17-yard line. This will be a 34-yard field goal attempt. Still do roll penalties for that. So Kevin Butler, 0-92. Kick is up and good. And Chicago extends its lead to 31-14. Oakland ready to receive the kickoff. That's a touchback. Oakland again from the 25. And again, Oakland on their drives. Their second drive, if they get to that point, will be off the 0 column. And, of course, -2 for the initial drive. All right, and they're going to get stopped. 18. 3 and out, no yards gained. So Oakland's going to punt it away. And there'll be 5 drives in each of the last 2 quarters. So 3 more to go in this one. And the punt, 1C, that's going to be a 38-yard punt. Fielded at the 37-yard line, and punt return. 1B is going to be a fair catch. So Chicago on their own 36, and first half of the drive, they're going to get stopped too. So 15, and 15 is going to be 3 plays, 7 yards. Chicago's going to have to punt that ball right back. They make it up to their own 43-yard line. And it's a 39-yard punt. Fielded down at the 18 as my cerebral math skills slip a little bit. All right, on the punt return, a B, 3B, and that's going to be a 5-yard return. So up to the 23-yard line, and that's where Oakland. Each team has 1 drive left in this quarter. Oakland gets 3 in the fourth, Chicago 2, and Oakland might need it. All right, 35, that's going to be another stop for the Bears. 3 plays, 5 yards. So the defenses have risen up here in the second half as they get set to punt away from the 28. And Chicago, 0 on the punt. And that is going to be a 50-yard punt. And it's going to be a big play cover. So, gosh, 27, 50, 77. That is going to be down to the 23-yard line. And big play cover is going to end up roll of 7, and that will be 2 yards on the return. So they get it out to the 25. Last drive of the third quarter, Chicago leading 31-14. And they're going to get stopped again. So the defenses, both defenses, playing tough in this quarter. 4 plays, 14 yards, and they'll punt it away from their 39. That's going to be a 40-yard punt, and we're going to have a big play on the return. So 79 to the 21-yard line. Let's see if this is what Oakland needs to snap them out of their funk. Punt return for Oakland is a B. And big play on the return, 4. That's 25 yards on the return. So up to the 46-yard line, and they start their first half of the drive there. We're into the fourth quarter, 31-14, Chicago in the lead. And 39, that is barely a successful drive. Wow. And 6 from the 46, that is 5 plays, 35 yards. Down to the 19-yard line. And Oakland's going to try and finish this one off. And again, the second drive comes off the 0 column, so they only need 34 or better. They get that easily, 71. And 4 on the quick play finish. That is 4 plays, 24 yards. That's going to be enough to get it in the end zone. Oakland's going to cut that lead to 10. It is 31-21 as Oakland storming back here in the fourth. Each team 2 drives left as Oakland kicks it off. 3D, and that's down to the goal line. The return on that 7A is going to be a 28-yard return. Chicago, their first drive of the fourth quarter starts there. See if McMahon, and they are going to get stopped again. Oakland, and that's 3 plays, negative 2D6 yards, and that's minus 7 yards. So back to the 21, and they're going to have to punt now. Unbelievable. Chicago was running through the Oakland defense in the first half. Madden made some good adjustments at halftime, and that has not been the case here in the second half. That's a 42-yard punt. Fielded at the 37, and can Oakland come all the way back? 4B on the punt return, and that's a 7-yard return. So up to the 44-yard line. Oakland 2 drives left, Chicago 1. 31-21, Chicago in the lead. Oakland looking to cut that deficit. And 87, that's a potential drive kill. So on that, we take the actually take this for the yardage. First time that has come up. And 19, that will be a 5-play, 31-yard drive unless there is a penalty, 10 or less. And Oakland, that yardage reverts to the punt kick column, 5 plays, 14 yards, as again the way the drive kill option works, and you can see it here on the drive chart. This is another new feature. I wanted a way to incorporate penalties into the drive chart, so this came into play here. And basically, if you roll a penalty, the result goes here. It would have been the 5 plays, 31 yards, and goes here to 5 plays, 14 yards. So that's how that works, and that is going to be 14 on to 44 is 58. All right. So from the 42, Oakland is going to have to punt this baby away, and they are not going coffin corner here. 6C, and that's going to come down at the 1-yard line. That couldn't have worked out any better for the Raiders, and they still have a chance in this game with the close late rule if they can score on their last drive and stop Chicago, of course, on this one. All right, 8 on the punt return, and 8C, that is going to be a 6-yard return. So ill-advised fielding that inside the 10. Chicago now, 93 yards to go, and their offense is done next to 0 in the second half. 77, and this time they, that was almost a big play, but instead they're going to get a successful drive and 14 from inside the 10. 6 plays, 42 yards. Down to the 44-yard line of Oakland, and second portion of the drive. This comes off the stalemate column as Oakland's, I'm sorry, still +2, still +2. All right, 71. That's going to be another successful drive and quick play finish. It's going to be 4 plays and a touchdown. So Chicago is going to put the Raiders to sleep here. Kick is up and good. That makes it 38-21. And Oakland, they're playing pretty much just for pride now as 9. That kick comes down, or the kickoff comes down at the 10-yard line. And 6B on the return. Up to the 28, and this will be the last drive of the game. And you can see how fast it goes in quick play mode. All right, here we go. 38 or better, and that's a wiener. Okay, we'll give it to him. That will be a successful drive. Hold on, 76. Let's make sure. Yeah, successful drive, and that is going to be 6 plays, 52 yards. It's going to go down to the 21-yard line in Oakland. Playing for pride, and on their second drive, it's going to be a stalemate. Better odds for them, 33, but that is still going to be a stop. Yikes. So 11, 4 plays, 12 yards. Obviously here, you'd probably go for it, but it doesn't matter. We'll just say they're going to kick a field goal for style points. Kick is up and good, and that is going to be the final score. And your final score is Chicago 38, Oakland 24. So in this video, you got to see basically a description of the traits and how they come into play. And neither trait did come into play in this one. Also, again, a review of this is the final prototype card, so a review of the cards, what's on that, what everything means basically. And then finally, first half in hybrid mode and second half in quick play mode, so you got a glimpse of every way to play the game. So that is it for this one. I hope you enjoyed that. Hit that like button if you did, and please subscribe to the channel. And again, Glory Days Pro Football in development, version 2 engine, and looking for a release around Super Bowl time. Almost done rating the teams, and then just some additional testing. They'll be ready to go. So thanks for watching, and take care. I hope you all have a great evening. Anthony with Bleacher Bums Gaming. We will see you later.